what more can you lose by standing up? Because by not being equal, you have already lost. So what can you lose by standing up?
Dr. Hilda Tadria, a renowned Ugandan feminist and human rights advocate, introduces herself not just as an activist, but as a lifelong advocate for women's rights across Africa. Her work spans decades and has left a significant impact on many communities.
Thank you so much. I was a bit resistant at the beginning, but that actually partly what describes who I am. I don't like the limelight. So my resistance was not because I didn't want to give the story, but because I hate being under the limelight. I like to think of myself, not just think about myself, but I know I'm a simple village girl who had a great opportunity to have great parents, who believed in education for all. I grew up in a family of 11 children. So you learn to live when you live with 11 children, 6 boys, 5 girls. I was fortunate to grow up in a family where my parents believed that every child mattered. Every child would be given an equal opportunity. Every child would be given a voice. And so that, I think, first and foremost, is what defined me, knowing that I can do anything.
Growing up in a large family, Hilda learned resilience, hard work, and the power of community support. Her journey through education and opportunities shaped her path into activism.
My parents were from a very humble background, but they succeeded because they did honest work. They believed and supported each other. And because of that, I grew up knowing that as a woman, I can do what I saw my mother doing. So when I say I'm a simple village girl, if you come from Uganda and you know the western part of Uganda near Congo, that's the village I grew up. That is the primary school I grew up. And I was fortunate that I was taught to focus on bigger goals by my parents. So from my primary school, I went to the best secondary school. From my secondary school, I went to the best high school in the country, went to the best university, went to the best universities for my second degree, third degree. I am also a feminist. No ifs, no buts. And I must say again, I've been fortunate because I've had a life partner who believed in equality of women and men. And so I was able to live my feminist journey without ifs, without buts, without any hurdles.
Dr. Hilda's dedication to women's empowerment led her to co-found the African Women's Development Fund, AWDF, and the Mentoring and Empowerment Program for Young Women, MEMPROW, two organizations that continue to create change across Africa.
I'm proud of the two organizations. The African Women's Fund is now a regional African Women's Fund. It's no longer just something founded by three African women. I am not there. I don't manage it. It self-manages by African women for African women. So I'm very proud of that. A brief story about that. Maybe the background is that most times I don't like to complain. I like to do. So if something annoys me, I act. So both mentoring and empowerment program for women, for girls in Uganda and the African Women Development Fund are founded on what I call my feminist rage. On when things are not working well for women, I try to do something about it. And that's really the background for the two organizations.
In 1985, Dr. Hilda Tadria played a key role in establishing Action for Development, AFCODE, a Ugandan organization that continues to fight for women's rights.
Let me go back to the founding of ACFODE, Action for Development. 1985, a very landmark year. Nairobi Forward-Looking Strategies. Again, I want to set the record to say that actually ACFODE, I am the brains behind ACFODE. Again, because from feminist rage.
With her experience in academia, international organizations, and advocacy, Dr. Hilda Tadria has developed a unique approach to gender training and institutional development.
I think for me, in my gender training, I've focused on starting from where people sit. My gender training focuses on getting people to internalize the impacts, the negative impacts of inequality based in patriarchy, and how they affect an individual woman, how they affect an individual man. And I actually tell the men in training that when there is no equality, they are losers as well. And let me say that it's unfortunate that men don't see they are the losers when there is no gender equality. Because imagine setting yourself up as the only person who can feed the family.
One of her proudest achievements is seeing the impact MEMPROW has had on young women across Africa, with over 30,000 girls mentored through the program.
To have the first African fund for African women is a great achievement. We give it without limitations. It's for women to do what they think is important in their society, in their communities. And it is the first in Africa. We have been able to support other African women's funds on the continent, and we are proud of that because the job is huge. So supporting other funds for us is something we are proud of. For the mentoring and empowerment program, today, I can say we have more than 30,000 girls who have gone through our program. And wherever I go now, I meet an employer who said, I am employing a girl from your organization and she is different. She is different in how they stand out, in their professionalism, in speaking out, in their delivery. When I meet the girls and they tell me they were in a competition and they were the top because of the mentoring that they received from my organization, for me, that's a huge achievement.
Her journey has not been without challenges. Dr. Hilda Tadria recalls the patriarchal resistance she encountered as she moved through various roles, but she never let these obstacles hold her back.
Probably the last example of, again, being defined by a mindset is when I was ready now to join the UN. I applied for a job in the UN, and it was pitched, the advertisement was at a very high level. So I took my application form to a human resources person who was receiving the application form. He looked at me and he looked at my application, and I had actually put in the application for the senior level. He said, "You know what? I think you should apply for a lower level." And I said to him, "But the job is at this level." He said, "No, you may have a problem being cleared to hold this position." I said, "Okay, I'll apply. And if there is a problem clearing me, I'll go back to where I came from." And guess what? I got the job at that senior level. So for me, one of the messages that I want to put out is that don't be afraid to fight back. Don't be afraid to challenge the norm, the patriarchal norms.
Looking ahead, Dr. Hilda's hopes for gender equality in Africa remain high. She has mentored countless young women and sees the future of feminism as a journey where each generation picks up the torch and pushes forward.
I like to think myself as retired but not tired. I think I've mentored a lot of young people. I've worked with a lot of young women, and I'm hoping that through them is my contribution to the future. That's my contribution to the future. But whenever I'm needed, as we say, feminist is a revolutionary movement, and revolutionaries don't retire. I'll be there when I'm needed. But I think I have mentored enough for them to carry on with my future hopes, which is a gender equality nation. No ifs, no buts.
With the legacy already in place, Dr. Hilda Tadria stands as a powerful voice for women's rights and an example of resilience and purpose. Her journey reminds us that change begins with the courage to stand up and make a difference.